Welcome back, guys. I am Dave, and we are here once again to talk about money and investing and really just trying to put our heads together and learn and improve and find ways to help us all make money. As always, if you have any suggestions, ideas, or comments, please let me know down in the comments. Interested to hear any thoughts on these issues. Today, I'll be talking about one of my earlier mistakes I made investing, which was in a company called Slack. If you're not familiar with it, it's very similar to Microsoft Teams. It actually came out before Microsoft Teams. They really wanted to reinvent how work is done in the office, move away from email, getting into different workflows, integration with APIs, and really start dealing with instant messaging, almost like Twitter type functionality and hashtags. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, really. But, there were some downsides to the company, and unfortunately, Microsoft really just came in with a competing product, which is way cheaper and bundled in with their Office 365, which makes it really hard to compete. And I really just got sucked into this compelling argument made by a billionaire investor you may have heard of, Chamath Palihapitiya. Very famous, been on CNBC a bunch of times. He is a member of an extremely popular podcast called the All In Podcast. He's done really well for himself. He is very articulate, very eloquent, and very convincing in his arguments whenever you see him. And I really just kind of got sucked into it without really thinking about it enough on my own, making my own decisions, doing my own due diligence. And I just wanted to go over what happened, how this could happen to you, and what lessons we can take from it. So let's jump in. Okay, so I want to show you guys a clip that a younger, more naive Dave watched live on CNBC, really got extremely excited and taken in by the arguments made here. This investor is Chamath Palihapitiya. He's a guy I used to really look up to. Still think he's a great investor. I'm not trying to bash him by any means, but I really didn't do my own due diligence. I just looked up to this guy extremely. I thought he was a genius, very smart man, extremely persuasive. When you listen to him talk, it's really hard not to be persuaded by him. So, young Dave, very excited about tech companies and growth prospects a few years back, listens to this video on CNBC, and let's see what I saw back then.
The biggest investments is a company called Slack. And I still think to myself, why did we not just lead every single round and write the entirety of the fund into that company? It was obvious from day one that Stuart Butterfield is an iconic CEO and that Slack is going to be one of the most important tech companies in the world.
Okay, so obviously pretty high praise from Chamath on this company called Slack. And back then, when Chamath said something, I just, took it on faith. I didn't think about it too much myself. He was right on so many things. He made a lot of money. He's very persuasive, and I just was thinking to myself, oh my God, here's this great opportunity. This brand new company is about to go public on the stock market. I could get in, not like a VC or whatever, but I could get in very early on when they go public and go on for the ride. As this is going to be the next big thing. Like, oh my God, this is going to be the next big thing. We got to get in on this, right? I mean, you've got this billionaire going on and saying he wishes he just invested his entire fund into this one company. He's so sure it's going to be a smash success. He thinks the CEO is great. It was really just exciting, and you sometimes get caught up in that excitement, which you have to watch out for. Okay, so this is just a little bit later on in the same interview he did on CNBC, talking a little bit more about Slack and the effusive praise that you'll hear coming from him. Just goes to show, how couldn't I get super excited about this? So let's go ahead and watch the clip.
You brought up Slack, so let's go there. What, you own 10% of the company? You're on the board? I know you're limited about what you can say as a result of all of that, but when can we expect it, and why the direct listing, and do you agree with that decision?
I love it. I think that the decision-making that Stuart has taken is incredible, both in the way that he's built the company, he's transforming the culture, he understands the product to a level of sophistication that I have not seen since Facebook. When I was in the bowels of Facebook building that machinery, what I saw was a team that really understood product market fit and the power of network effects, and why that created an incredibly subsidized business, a thing that could expand all over the world at marginally zero cost. The only company in the world that looks like that today that is not yet public is called Slack, and it will be soon. And so from that perspective, I think it is the most incredible business that we have seen.
Okay, so once again, just the extreme level of the praise. Like, it's one thing to say you think this is a great company, but just the amount of excitement he really tries to engender there. Name dropping Facebook as a company in the past that he's been involved with and obviously had great returns on, basically saying this is the greatest company, he's ever seen. Young Dave, I mean, I guess, how couldn't you get taken in by, well, I shouldn't say taken in because I'm sure Chamath really did believe in this company, but how couldn't you get caught up in this and just so excited that you wanted to go and invest without really doing your own research, your own due diligence? He's talking about the next Facebook. It's billions and billions of dollars worth of market cap to be made there. There's actually a few things there that the interviewer mentioned I didn't pay enough attention to at the time. I was too excited about the company and the great things Chamath was saying. The interview mentions that Chamath's actually on the board of directors of this company, and he is obviously a massive investor in the company as well. So it really is in his best interest to make this company sound as good as possible. So what happened? Well, needless to say, when the stock did go public via direct listing, as opposed to SPAC or IPO, I jumped on it on the very first day. So let's take a quick look at the chart to get a better idea of what happened. So the day finally comes when Slack goes public via direct listing. And the reference price that it was set at was $26. So as you can see from this chart, I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, it's going to come out around $26. I'm going to get in around there. And holy crap, as soon as I see it available, because it's usually not available to the public before some of these private investors, it's already up at almost $40, $38. I mean, that is just a massive premium. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, I need to get in. I need to get in. Look at what Chamath said. This is going to be the next big thing. And it's already going crazy. It's already jumping. I need to get in before it goes even crazier. So what do I do like an idiot? I buy some. Probably right near the top here. You can see from the chart what we're in for over the next 6 months. We are going down, 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 down to almost $20. We looks like we do hit about $20 here. So we go from 38 to 20, and that is just a massive drop in 6 months. Especially if you're a younger investor, it can be very disheartening. You think to yourself, this is supposed to be the next big thing, really exciting. You've got this big tech entrepreneur backing it. I mean, what's going on here? So, needless to say, not very happy with that performance in the first 6 months. Then what do? You start getting stressed out. You start getting worried. And that's when you can make even worse decisions. We could have been patient. We could have waited to see how things play out if we really believe in this company instead of jumping in on the very first day. I'm going to get into some lessons learned later on, but suffice it to say, I find it's very rare that the IPO price or direct listing price or SPAC price, whatever it may be, is the best price you're going to get. I seem to find that if you're patient, you can get a better price, and you probably should be patient. But let's move on. So later on, as I'm looking into other companies endorsed and advocated by Chamath, this investor I really look up to, and was looking to get more ideas from, I came across another recommendation of his called Box. And I'll show you a couple clips of his thoughts on Box. And these kind of made me go like, I don't know if I agree with you on this, Chamath. Maybe I don't agree with absolutely everything you think. And maybe I shouldn't just go with, whatever you say. So let's jump into the first short video now.
They're going, great. So your previous best ideas are Amazon's going to be a $3 trillion company, Tesla, and now Box, which is tiny compared with these guys. Yeah. You think belongs in the upper echelons of companies that are best positioned right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so really short one there. There'll be another longer one, but basically back in 2018, he's saying that his next big idea is Box. And on the face of it, I really don't agree with this one. I mean, I'm thinking about it, and I see the competition. I don't really see what's differentiating them. They got in later, but let's listen to his argument and go from there.
How big do you think Box can get, or how valuable, how good an investment do you see this being?
Well, so this is a $3.3 billion company that I think has a huge margin of safety. It is one of the cheapest stocks around. It is growing at incredibly fast rates. And I tend to think, when I think about these businesses, can they 10x in 10 years? And I think this is possible to do that as well.
So you think it could grow from a $3 billion to a $30 billion company?
Over 10 years, I think it can.
Wow.
So I watched this interview of Chamath really advocating for Box as a big investment play. And I'm just thinking to myself, I really don't see this one, you know? Okay, so they're in the cloud storage space, kind of like Dropbox, who was the first big mover in the space. They have the brand name, if you will. They have the first mover advantage where they got all those customers and who may not want to have to migrate their data. And then you got the big boys coming in not long after, like Google, obviously, with their Google Drive. They give you a ton of free space. They have a huge application suite of cloud software to go along with that. You've got Microsoft, who have now got OneDrive. It was SkyDrive, now it's OneDrive. A ton of free storage. You can upgrade cheaply. You're already tied into their accounts for Office and various things like that. They've got Office 365, Azure. They're trying to pull you into their ecosystem. So I'm just thinking to myself, what does Box really bring to the table? If I look at it, I think Microsoft and Google, they have the customer base. If you're already with them, it probably makes sense for you to stay with them in terms of a cloud storage offering. If you're looking to go for a different player, I really feel like Dropbox probably has that market a little better than Box, just because they came out first. For a while there, this cloud storage got the name became synonymous with Dropbox. Like, I'll just throw those files in my Dropbox; they'll be available anywhere. And I know they're expanding beyond that, but that was kind of the core business model. So to me, in this area, I frankly don't see how Box is going to be successful. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something I don't know and Chamath does, but you have to believe in the companies you're investing in. And I really just don't believe in Box at all. So, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong and there's something I don't know. But I was watching this interview from Chamath and I'm like, holy smokes, like, I can't just take anything this guy says as gospel and run with any investment he says is his next big idea. Like, he says Box is going to 10x. They've got to go up against Microsoft and Google. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. So then that made me think, I really have to take a hard look at my own investments. I need to think about Slack. I can't just get hyped up by this billionaire investor, talking up stocks. So let's take a quick look at the chart of Box here. Now, this is about a 5-year chart, and Chamath's interview I've marked with an X on the chart. As you can see, it was having a decent run, and after he went on TV and talked it up, it really shot up. But since then, it's really not done much of anything. Actually had a really poor few years. It's finally started to bounce back, and basically, if you had bought it, after that Chamath interview on the hype, you'd still be lucky to make your money back a few years later, maybe 3 years later, 4 years later. You'd be just breaking even now. So again, a few things here. It's interesting that it shoots up right after his interviews. I feel like that's no coincidence, especially with an eloquent speaker like Chamath. Going on TV, a lot of people are watching it. A lot of people are being influenced and wanting to buy it. And it's often the worst time to do it, really, to be honest with you. So you have to, I guess, if you really believed in this, you would have to get into it before he goes on TV with his interview, or wait a while for the hype to die down. But don't be like young idiot Dave and as right after he goes on TV and talks up a company, think to yourself, oh my God, I got to buy this company, because that's often, as we see here at least, the worst time to do it. So another quick one here, still the Box chart showing, as you can see, but we now are against the S&P 500 index, which is really a great comparison, because if you're actively investing, that's kind of your benchmark, I would say. Otherwise, you can just throw your money in the S&P 500, the 500 biggest companies in the States. So as we can see, over the past 5 years, the S&P has markedly outperformed Box. No way around it. So this isn't to show, haha, I'm right, you're wrong, Chamath. I mean, maybe he's right. In the next few years, this stock's still 10x's. I look back on this video a few years later and I look like an idiot. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying, so far, that was clearly not the best time to buy the company. Luckily, the story does have a relatively happy ending in this case anyway, which is that although Slack was in trouble, the stock was going down considerably. I was sitting at a loss. And remember, this is during one of the biggest bull market runs of the past, decade. This was a great time for the stock market, especially growth companies, but Slack was just going down. Now, Microsoft was coming in. They were stealing a lot of potential customers. They were offering a cheaper product that was bundled with their other services. So I was getting really worried, and I didn't see a way out, which is when, people can take big losses. But what ended up happening was another large company called Salesforce came in and acquired Slack at pretty much the price I paid for them originally. Usually when these acquisitions happen, they do pay a premium for it as compared to where the stock is trading at that moment in time. So I got my money out of it, which, is good. But at the same time, that was dead money during a great bull market run that could have been growing elsewhere. So lesson learned on this one. We got lucky. It could have been way worse. I could have ended up selling at the bottom, losing my money. And we move forward. I hope you learned from this, and going forward, we can all do our own research, make better decisions, and don't just take it on faith that one persuasive person says this stock is a buy. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.